So they say you aren't truly a YouTuber until you get yourself an electric scooter, a one wheel, or an electric bicycle. Now, nobody knows why that is, but that's just how it is. I'm guessing maybe Casey Neistat has something to do with that when he first brought out the, what was that, the Super 75 or something like that. Awesome looking bike, but this one I think is maybe a little bit better. This is the Addmotor Soliton M66X e-bike, and it is one of the best looking e-bikes on the market today. But as we know, looks aren't everything. So let's talk about this bike and let's see if it's something that's worth spending your hard-earned money on. So the Soliton M66X is a moped style step-through e-bike, and it brings back memories of when I would see my wealthy friends from grade school driving their mopeds around town while I had to chase them pedaling my rainbow bike with a banana seat and a sissy bar on the back. Some of you may have had a bike like that, but overall, this bike is a very well-built e-bike. But there are a few things about it that make it maybe not the best for everyone that's looking to get their very first one. Now, there are two things that I have to talk about right away because they are what makes this bike worth its price. First of all, this seat, or saddle as some call it, is incredibly comfortable. It's almost 2 feet long and it's over 8 inches wide. It's so nice to sit on and it makes long rides so much more enjoyable. The stitching on it is very nice. The faux leather is thick and it's durable. And it's a lot like a snowmobile seat or maybe a motorcycle seat if you've ever sat on those. It's very thick and it's very nice. Now the seat is big enough for 2 people. And then they have these foldable foot pegs on the back. So you can enjoy the ride with someone special, or maybe if you're just a lone wolf, this long seat allows you to adjust your position occasionally for better comfort. Now that's very important, as I will discuss more here in just a minute. Now the next thing that makes this bike so nice to ride is that it has full suspension. On the front in particular, they have these Addshocks fork with 80 millimeters of travel. The M66X is not really meant to be an off-road bike strictly, like for aggressive rides, but it does really well on bike trails. And if you're out on the road and you hit a pothole, or maybe on the sidewalk and you hit a large gap or something, you barely notice it because of this suspension system. There's minimal jarring, and then you can also adjust the preload if you want by dialing it in a little bit. Now this is only the second moped style e-bike that I have ridden, so I don't have a whole lot to compare to, but this is so much more pleasurable and easier to ride because of just those two things. Overall, the M66X is very well built. It's got a heavy-duty aluminum alloy frame. It has the 4x20-inch Kenda tires with Bafang alloy wheels, and it has this double chain guard. That's a very nice feature that you don't see on a whole lot of e-bikes. It has a 7-speed Shimano shifter, Shimano gears, and a Shimano derailleur. So having these high-quality components means that they're going to last for the long term. Now, looking at the handlebars here, it has very nice soft handles. It's got appropriately spaced brake handles. It also has a horn that you can hear from at least 500 feet away. I think you can hear it from further than that. It also has the old-fashioned, the old-style bell. Right here is the power button, and here are the pedal assist buttons. So you can increase or decrease the amount of motor that contributes to your pedaling. And then right here are the turn signal buttons, and that's right, this bike has turn signals, and they are very bright, along with the brake light as well. And that's another thing that you don't see on a whole lot of e-bikes is turn signals and brake lights. Now on the throttle side is the motor control wheel, and then the motor power button. Like you can disable and enable the motor by just pushing that button right there. Now the gear shifter is here as well. Now for the few times that I actually have pedaled this bike, you don't pedal this bike, you guys. This is a moped, but it's got pedals on it. But the few times that I have pedaled it for a long time, I found that when you're cruising, 5th gear seems to be the best. It's kind of the sweet spot. Now let's talk about power. This bike, the M66X, has a ton of power. It's got a Bafang 48 volt, 750 watt single motor powered by this massive 20 amp hour battery. Now this battery has its own power button. I should tell you that just so you're aware of that, because when I first got this bike and I was trying to figure out how to turn it on, I couldn't get it turned on and I was so frustrated. I was getting ready to call customer service, but then I found the power button on top of the battery. it's kind of hidden. It's hard to find, and it's a little bit of a theft deterrent. So that's kind of nice because, you know, you can't run the bike, you can't turn that motor until the battery is powered on. Of course, if someone wants to steal your bike, they're just going to pedal it, but they're not going to be able to run the motor. So just be sure that you turn on the battery before you turn on the bike. Now, this does have an advertised capacity of being able to ride for just over 100 miles on a single charge, and that's if you use the pedal assist at the lowest setting and you go 8 miles per hour on a flat surface with no wind. You know, ideal conditions. But let's be honest, not too many people are going to be pedaling this bike. Yeah, like I said, you don't buy this bike for exercise, you guys. You buy this bike because you want that moped that you couldn't afford when you were a teenager. So a normal sized man, like I'm just over 200 pounds, is going to get about 50 miles out of this bike, especially if you're throttle heavy. You know, if you're going to be pedaling it and using the pedal assist, yeah, you're probably going to get a little bit more than that. But I think if you get 50 miles out of this bike, you're doing pretty good. And for e-bikes, that's pretty good. Now, the maximum speed on this is 20 miles per hour, but you're able to kind of go into the settings and change it and get up to 23 miles per hour. I haven't bothered doing that because for me, at least 20 miles per hour is plenty fast. And I think you don't really buy this bike for speed. You buy it for the comfortable ride. You get it for the extended ride time, and you get it for the appearance, how it looks. It's really nice. Everywhere that I've gone with this bike, like people do double takes. They're like, wow, that's a really nice looking bike. So yeah, that's one little bonus to it. Now, the LCD display is appropriately sized, it's easy to see in the sun, and it provides all the information that you need, including those turn signals. You know, it's kind of one little negative. Once in a while, I bump that turn signal with my thumb. You don't realize that you're doing it, and so you might be running your blinker the whole time, but if you see it on the LCD display, you're like, oh, I need to disable my turn signal. So it's nice to have that indicator on the LCD screen. Now, there's a 40 lumen headlight that works to provide visibilities for others if you're in low light conditions, but in my opinion, it really isn't powerful enough to light your way in the dark. If you're going to be riding this bike at night, I would get an additional light, some type of light that kind of spreads it out, because this light on there is more of like it's almost like it's in a tube. It's just like a spotlight. So this platform right here is very nice to rest your feet on once in a while if you want to, but honestly, I just prefer to keep my feet on the pedals because this is a shorter bike already. You see, the step-through moped style bikes really aren't meant for pedaling. It's such a short pedal stroke, and your knees aren't able to fully extend because you can't adjust the seat at all. You know, these are fixed seat bicycles, so placing your feet on that platform brings you even more into that fetal position, so I don't really use it for that. What I have used that little platform for is when I'm tracking myself with my drone, I can set my controller right on that platform. It fits on there really nicely. You know, I will only do that on smooth surfaces, like if I'm on the road or on, you know, on a bike path or something like that, because if I hit a bump, that controller is going to go flying off of there. But it's really nice to be able to just set the controller down there, and then I have my hands on the handlebars, and I can just let the drone do its thing. I don't have to worry about holding that controller. So that's the only thing I really use the platform for. Now, earlier I did talk about the benefit of having that long, comfortable seat. Because this bike has such a short stroke, such a short pedal stroke, to make it more comfortable for taller people, you can just slide back further or slide forward or whatever. You can kind of adjust, you know, so you're able to extend your legs a little bit. It's not ideal, but it is nice to be able to change position occasionally. Now, the last little negative that I have to mention about this bike is that it does have disc brakes. They're responsive brakes, they have great stopping power, but just like my other e-bike with disc brakes, sometimes when you turn, if you turn to the right or to the left even, if they're not perfectly aligned, they rub a little bit and they make a slight grinding noise. You know, it's not a constant grinding noise, it's just one little spot. So that's the one thing, the number one thing that I think could make this bike better is if there were hydraulic brakes. And then the other thing is having a wider light, you know, not just a little tunnel light. It's a bright light, but it's just one spot that it lights up. So having a nice, you know, bright light, bright white light that, you know, that extends beyond the sides of the road or whatever. So other than those two things, you guys, this is a very, very nice e-bike. It is a heavy bike. It weighs just over 90 pounds with that battery on there, which is probably part of the reason it rides so nice, that and those Kenda wheels, those Kenda tires. But, you know, it rides like a Cadillac. It's a very smooth ride. But heavy may not be for everyone. If you want like a more portable option, Addmotor does have, they have one folding bike. It's called the Fold 10, and it looks to be pretty nice. I might check it out someday. But I think that would be perfect for like camping. Maybe you're at the campground, something you want to throw in your camper and then pull out and go around the campground, or something just to cruise around town a little bit. You can throw it in the back of your vehicle, or maybe even in your back seat because it's foldable. This is not a portable bike, you guys. This is a heavy bike. This is something that you're going to keep in your garage or in your shed or whatever. You're going to go get groceries, you're going to go to the ball game, whatever, ride to work every day. It's great for that, but it's not something that you're going to haul around on a regular basis, lifting it in and out of places. So what else can I say about the Soliton M66X? When you're riding with two people, I think, if I'm wrong, I'll put it on the screen here, but I think they have a backrest that you can get. Like it's an accessory. They have quite a few accessories that you can get for this bike. I would get the backrest because the other day my son was riding on the back with me, and I turned on the throttle, and it's got a pretty quick responsive throttle. I turned on the throttle and he kind of grabbed me. He almost fell off the back of the bike. So if you're going to be using this with two people, I highly recommend getting that backrest. And like I said, I'm not positive if they have that. I think they do. I'll put a link in the description for Addmotor website and this bike in particular. You can check them all out. They have a really wide array of options for you. So if this one doesn't fit your needs, they do have some other ones that can fit your needs. The other thing that I want to say about this bike, the cable management, it's important, right? And there's a lot of cables, there's a lot of wires and things. They do a really nice job of running it through the frame. They got a little kind of a cable management thing under the seat. So that's really, really nice. The suspension, you guys, that is number one thing on this bicycle. I think that sets it above other bicycles in this price range. It's a little spendy. Yes, it is. It's like $2,400 at the making of this video, but it is a very high quality bike. You're getting what you pay for with this bike. They do have free shipping, and the shipping is pretty fast. I think for most United States shipping anyway, it's 3 to 10 days, so that's pretty good. Other than that, that's all I can come up with right now. If you do have questions, if I missed something, maybe you're wondering like, why didn't he mention that? Let me know in the comments and I'll answer it right away. I'm gonna answer every single comment that you guys, every question that you guys have for me on this bicycle. I really enjoy e-bikes.